Manus, thank you very much for joining me. We're at the end of the study tour. The last couple of days we've had the opportunity to visit some of the largest vegetable producers and packers of pre-packed product. A lot of them were family businesses. What do you think is their secret to success, and why are they such significant players in the vegetable sector today?
I think we've seen, like you say, several family businesses, which is somewhat surprising. But perhaps their success is that they've been, willing to look at, expansion and building their business not just in the UK, but also looking at other sources of product and setting up farms in other locations.
Yeah, and I think, as you said, setting up farms. Obviously, Australia's a big country, so we can source product from the south to the north and have that seasonality, whereas a lot of them are having to go to South Africa and South America and further afield. What did you take home from that?
Well, I think they're not only distributed production, but they're also vertically integrated. But from an Australian context, you're probably not talking about going overseas, but maybe you're talking about different states or in different climate regions. So I think we have some businesses like that in Australia. But yeah, just the sheer scale of some of the ones that we've been to visit is quite incredible.
Yeah, yesterday we had the opportunity to go to AUSVEG Foods, and we had a really good presentation about the product development and retail trends. Do you see any of those trends coming to Australia, or do you think we have a slightly different market?
I think the main product that AUSVEG produces is salads, which obviously there's a lot of in Australia. So I think there's some similarities, and I think we noted some similar trends and some things that market research in Australia is suggesting the inclusion of fruits in salads was something that they were picking up on as well. So I think there's a lot of similarities. There's probably some different demographics and different seasonality, but quite similar trends. It does seem that Australian consumers aren't so keen on pre-packaged products, as we've seen a lot of pre-packed and ready-to-eat product here, which we don't see quite as much of in Australia.
Talking to the growers, at some stage I found it hard to think that we were not back in Australia because a lot of the issues were very similar.
Yeah, so I think they're all struggling with increased compliance, multiple certifications, the rise of ESG and particularly sustainability credentials, and sometimes things that don't necessarily make sense but sound good if it's being pushed to retail customers, but not necessarily making a big impact on carbon footprint or those sort of measures.
Yeah, and I think going back to our earlier question about packaging, it's that balance, isn't it, between having a sustainable outcome, but then taking into consideration food waste, shelf life, and things like that. And they were saying that some of the cardboard or paper options were actually worse for the environment.
Yeah. I think there's a great example yesterday about losing the lids off packaged dips and just having the foil tear off strip on the top, and that they dropped that to reduce the plastic, but that customers were very unhappy about the food waste that caused.
So last day today, what are going to be some of the key take-home messages that you'll take back to Western Australia?
So I think there's been some interesting differences between businesses about whether you focus on supplying one customer or whether you diversify your risk and supply multiple customers. So there's some of our growers that are doing those things and exploring those strategies. Certainly looking at some of the processing technology. I know that some of our growers will be particularly interested in conversations that I'll have with them about what we've seen and maybe things that they should be looking at from a processing side.
Yeah, I think that was interesting. I think one place we went to, there was robots working And, you know, we were sort of saying, do they do it quicker? And they were going, no, it's the same pace as, you know, as humans, but at least there's someone there doing it. So, you know, they've got, you know, it's labour shortages here as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think, you know, while we might not be seeing robots running around factories in Western Australia anytime soon, I think, you know, the principles that we've seen here are probably applicable to most businesses that process or have lots of staff. And, you know, the labour shortages is a common theme across all of the places that we visited.
Yeah. Thank you, Manus. Hope you had a great trip.
I have, yeah, very enjoyable. Thanks.
Thank you.